The house of Josie Woe has become haunted and infested with ghosts?
Nor! So after streaming Luigi's Mansion 2 HD for like 12 hours, I have some opinions on the game, and honestly, I think it's a lot better than people are giving it credit for. There's a lot of discourse on both sides. Some people really like it, like Gene Park. Gene's probably the only guy I've ever heard of who really likes this game, but that's awesome. But then, there's some people who really don't like it and who call it the black sheep of the Luigi's Mansion family. So today we're going to find out, is it the black sheep, or might it be some sort of hidden gem? So let's get into it. Alright, so this game came out all the way back in 2013 for the 3DS, and at the time, it came out to pretty high acclaim, honestly. IGN gave them a 9 out of 10, saying, quote, amazing, Luigi's Mansion 2 might be a sequel, but it's one that shows Nintendo at its inventive best. Similarly, Nintendo Life gave them a 9 out of 10, saying, quote, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon is nothing less than an absolute triumph for Nintendo. Everything about it, from the glorious visuals right to its in-depth, incredibly fun gameplay, just oozes high quality. It also begs the question why this game wasn't developed for the Wii U. It's a home console quality experience and proof that on this day, the 3DS can deliver above and beyond its competitors. It also has a solid 86 on Metacritic, showing that at its time, it was reviewed really well, but for some reason the discourse has gone down a steep-ass hill, and now people shit on the game all the time. So why is that? And at least from my perspective and everything I've heard, a lot of people told me that this is the worst game out of the trilogy. People really don't like Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon, usually because they bring up the linearity of the game and how different it felt to the previous one, and then also the third one ended up going with a more similar style to that first one. And so, with it being the one differentiating game out of all of it, a lot of people have just decided it's not very good and that it's a game that they can totally shit on. And when this game was coming out, a lot of people talk about how it's definitely not worth it, not just because of the price point, which is egregious at $60, I will admit, but just because, it's not a game that they think is good, which is shocking to me, especially after looking back and seeing all these really positive reviews at the time. So personally, I started this game pretty excited, and you see, I really liked Luigi's Mansion 3, but for some reason, it just never really clicked with me. I bought that baddie on launch day, and it ended up taking me 3 years to actually get through it. And despite it being one of the best looking games on Switch, it just didn't grab me for some reason. Now, as far as the original, I've played around with it a tiny bit and seen a lot of coverage on it, but I've never actually beaten it or really played through it enough to have much of an opinion on that one. But I would love to check it out at some point, so Nintendo, please bring that baddie over. We will stream it, of course, chat. If you want to see that stream, catch that stream when it eventually comes out, make sure to subscribe down below, please. Alright, thank you. So anyway, my history with the franchise isn't anything super special, but something about this game kinda excited me from the get-go. Maybe it's because it was originally on the 3DS, and seeing more games getting ported to the Nintendo Switch is awesome because it shows that they're not just stuck over there. But other than that, something about it, like I said, did grab me. And this game came out while I was in New York, so the copy that you're seeing right now is actually straight from New York, so that was pretty cool. It's very swag, but the gameplay here is really what hooked me from the get-go. Now, it's fairly simple. You just go around and you solve puzzles and suck up ghosts, but genuinely some of the puzzles are kind of challenging at times. They can be confusing and use a lot of brain power, and then you finally figure something out and you feel like an absolute genius. And I always love when games make you feel that you actually accomplish something in the way that this one does. Now, more than that, the combat here is pretty cool. You're constantly being shown new ghosts and going up against harder ghosts as you progress in the game, and that's all well and fun, but now we come to the most controversial part of this game, and that is simply the mission structure. Like I brought up earlier, a lot of people do not like the mission structure that is present in this game. And it's really because this game is genuinely set up as a handheld game, because you're going to go through these different missions one at a time before being sucked back into the hub area, basically, and then EGAD will give you sort of the lowdown for the next mission. And so that, from my understanding, is really what alienated people originally. Now, personally, I've actually always liked a more linear structure like this one, but it did piss me off a little bit just how much EGAD talked through each of these things, because it can get a little bit annoying if you want to just keep going through levels over and over again, and then you're constantly being sucked back to see the same few animations of you depositing your ghosts and getting your money and all that kind of vibes. Now, in Luigi's Mansion 2, which is very different than the other ones, there are different mansions, and so each subset of 5 or so levels, you're going to change to a different mansion after you beat that first mansion, basically. Which is actually something I did end up liking, because it gives you the ability to explore a brand new sort of mansion, a brand new setting every now and again, and it's very fun, and just, like I said, it allows for some cool theming. It's basically the same thing that they did with Luigi's Mansion 3 with, like, the floors and how you get a new little, like, button in the elevator, and then you can go up to a different floor that is a little bit different from the other ones. It's basically that same vibe, but it is cooler in a way, I would say. Well, no, because I like how connected Luigi's Mansion 3 felt and how, like, every floor was in the same hotel at the end of the day, but I think that it's not a bad thing that they've allowed themselves to go from mansion to mansion in this way, because it really does, like I said, allow for some different bigger set pieces and things like that, and in a handheld game it was pretty impressive. Now, a big part of my experience playing this game was the fact that I actually zoomed through all of it in 2 days on stream. I've realized that smaller games like this in Princess Peach Showtime, it's just a lot of fun playing with you guys all live, and so I did that. Like I said earlier, subscribe so you can see when I do that again, okay? It'll happen pretty soon. But in the slower parts of the game, being live was really nice, because when I get lost or something, it was pretty nice to have the chat there to just talk to and explain my thought process to. It really just allowed me to, like, talk out loud and led me to be able to really think through everything and end up beating this game in the time that I did. The boss battles are also extremely fun. Each one of them is just really different from the last, and they switch up the playstyle of all of the game, which provides a much needed break from that combat system, because while yes, it is really good, it can just be a little bit repetitive to keep sucking up ghosts and shocking them with the flashlight and things like that. Also, I'm gonna not say much to this to avoid any spoilers, but the final fight is fucking awesome. It is so good. I love it so much. But the question now is should this game be $60? It came out for the Nintendo Switch for $60. And at the end of the day, absolutely not. I think this game is definitely a $40 game, and especially because the original that came out on the 3DS it launched at $40, because every 3DS game was $40, right? And then it even got slashed again because it's part of the Nintendo Selects and went down to $20. And so going from $20 and then jumping all the way to $60 feels a bit egregious. They did do a lot. It looks very nice. You know, obviously they had to change the control scheme around quite a bit. But other than that, you know, there's nothing brand new that is added to this game that I think really makes it worth the $60 price point that they're asking for. It's confusing to me that they didn't go for like a $50 price point or the $40, because, like, if we look at games like Miitopia, that is another release from the 3DS to the Nintendo Switch, that game launched for $50 and it ended up going on sale for around $40 to $30. And so what I really recommend doing with this is that if you're not a diehard Luigi's Mansion fan who has been chomping at the bit to play this game, then you should wait just a little bit, probably for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and pick this baddie up for $30 to $40, because if you can find it for any less than $40 or $40, it's 1000% worth it, and it was a very fun game overall. I would give this game a solid 8.7 out of 10. I really had a great time through my entire playthrough, and I love streaming these games live with you guys, so let me know down below if you like watching me play through these games, because I don't know if it's like the best content, but it's fun for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'd love to know your guys' thoughts on that down in the comments below. If you made it this far, comment Luigi's a bitch in the... Just kidding, don't do that. Comment Luigi, my man, down below, and I will see you guys in this video. It's a banger, it's a vibe, it's a good time. Thank you so much for getting all the way through this video. Again, genuinely, I really appreciate you. There's like probably like 20% of you guys who made it all the way out here, so I love to know which ones of you guys, you know, did that. Also, Emio, that looks crazy. I'll talk about that pretty soon.